All right, perfect. We are live. So, hello, everyone. My name is Chris Zach. Yes, I have two first names. And it's really nice to meet all of you. If you haven't met me, I teach two classes every single month here in the Real Academy. So, today you are attending what we call Facebook Ads 201. So, we'll get into a couple different topics here. Some housekeeping things. Yes, I am recording this here today. So, if anyone does want the recording of it, feel free to send your email over in chat. The other thing is I've got everyone muted as well, just because I've been doing this a long time and dogs barking, kids yelling, all that fun stuff. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. So a little bit about me. I promise I won't bore you guys with my whole life story, but I do think some context is important. So I own and operate a company out here in San Diego called Chris Zach Interact. So I am not a licensed realtor. However, I've worked with realtors since 2007. And so our company, we do two things and two things well. We do a lot of online lead generation. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube ads. That's a big part of our business. And then the other big part of our business is we help agents put together systems. So when they generate a lead, when they're working with their past clients, their sphere, a lot of agents just have no structure with a lot of their tech, or they've got seven different systems and none of them are talking to each other. So if there's anything we can do to help you guys, feel free to let us know. You'll see this QR code in a few different places here today. This isn't a sales pitch, but every time I do this with Real Academy, I always have a lot of agents that reach out and they say, Chris, I've got Lofty. I'm generating leads, but I need some help. My business is a mess on the tech side. What can you do to help? So if there's anything we can do to help, or if there's anything today during this training, you're like, man, Chris, I've been doing some of this, but can I get just another set of eyes? Can you kind of come in and take a look? You can also schedule just a free 15-minute consultation with us as well. So, with that being said, let's talk about agenda. So, agenda today, we are going to cover a couple different topics. The first thing I do want you guys to know is if you have not attended my Facebook Ads 101 training, I would recommend you watch that training or the recording first, because today this is kind of a picking up where we left off on that training. So if anyone does need the recording of that, please send it over in chat, and I will send over the recording. So a couple of you sent over your emails already. I'll send those recordings here at the later on here today. So, but yeah, if you have not attended Facebook Ads 101, you might be a little bit lost today. So it's okay if you need to hop off at this point, go back and watch the first one. However, if you are already familiar with Facebook ads, maybe you've been running Facebook ads for a couple years and you're like, Chris, I just kind of want a little more of kind of advanced. This is the class for you. So we're going to get into retargeting. I'm a big fan of retargeting. We'll define what that is. We're going to talk about choosing custom audiences. So we're going to get into that verbiage. Um, I'm going to teach you how to use custom audiences and some different kind of best practices. And then we are going to talk about what they call as a pixel, which is a fancy way of saying when someone visits my website, I want to track what they're doing. And then last thing we'll end with, well, how much should you be spending and what to expect while doing some of this stuff that we're talking about. So before I do get started, I love asking questions. I crave a lot of attention. I crave a lot of feedback. So please keep the questions coming. But I'd love to know from you guys, why are you attending this class here today? What are you hoping to get out of Facebook Ads 201? Is there something maybe you have, attended in the past? You're like, Chris, I'd love you to just kind of talk more about that. But why are you attending Facebook Ads 201 here today? I'd love to get that from you guys. Anyone?
I guess to dial in the audiences, like you were just mentioning.
I love that. So, do you have all your audiences set up, Suzanne, or are you looking for me to kind of coach you as far as like what type of audience to create? Where are you at in that process with audiences?
All of the above. I
Oh,
have a geo farming, list that I've created a custom audience with.
perfect.
So
Okay.
yeah, eager to learn.
Awesome. Beautiful. I love that. So, if you could maybe be my guinea pig, if you could send over your website in the chat, and I'll basically put myself in your shoes. Like if I were Suzanne, um, what exactly I would do. So I'll cover that here as well. So that's really good. So. All right. Anyone else want to share any feedback as far as what they're looking to get out of here today? I know they label this technically a workshop, so I like agents to kind of use this time to like, hey Chris, can I just pick your brain for an hour? But if not, I also have an agenda. So, all right. So let's keep on trucking. So let's define retargeting. You guys all know what retargeting is, whether you know it or not. Retargeting in its most simple form is what you see on Amazon. So we've all been on Amazon, and then all of a sudden, those black pair of Nikes, they start following you around the internet. In its most simple form, that's what retargeting is. So think of retargeting kind of like a door chime. So if you owned a department store, and I'm going to use a Foot Locker analogy today. Let's say that you owned a Foot Locker, and every time someone walks into your Foot Locker, ding, they've got a door chime. Think of retargeting as kind of that. It's identifying Chris just walked in my store. Chris is looking at Nike size 12. He's gone and now he's looking at t-shirts. So think of retargeting as you're kind of following people around. And just to get into a little bit of nerd talk, and I promise I'll land the plane as far as some of this nerd talk, but pretty much any website you go to today, you guys are going to see this little message right here on your screen, right? Has everyone ever seen this? This site uses cookies to enhance your browsing experience. That's a really fancy way of saying, hey, if you click on OK, you're allowing us to market you. We're going to send you ads. We're going to show you ads. And you're going to be, kind of surprised, like, why is this t-shirt following me around the internet? It's because you push this button right here. That's why. So in its most simple form, that's really what retargeting is. So what retargeting does is a couple things. It helps with visitor interaction. So I love using e-commerce when I talk about retargeting as well. Most consumers on the e-commerce side, they say that you need to show someone an ad 8 times before they pull the trigger and actually buy. So that's powerful. So if you think about that, you shop one night, you had a bottle of wine and you were shopping for purses, and then the next 3 weeks on Instagram, the purse, the purse, the purse, the purse, the purse. They know kind of sales 101 and sales psychology. At some point, you're going to give into that temptation and pull the trigger on it. So e-commerce does a really good job of this. But on the real estate side, people don't make impulse buys, right? No one's buying $1 million house at 10 o'clock at night. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably some people that have a lot of money that do. But for the most part, consumers, they're shopping, but they're shopping in a different way. So think of retargeting as a really good way to continually stay in front of people, kind of like, just a little bit of a drip, if you will. It allows you to track them. It allows you to show them specific ads, but most importantly, it encourages conversions. And here's what I mean by that. I always tell agents, anytime they start working with us, I'm always like, hey, before you spend a dime, tell me about all the old leads that you have. Tell me about the thousands of dollars you spent over the last 10 years. We have a new client right now. He's got 8,000 leads and he's talking about new leads. And I'm like, you've got 8,000 leads. Let's talk about those first. Because the leads that you generated 2, 3 years ago, 18 months ago, to me, those leads are more powerful than a new lead today. Doesn't mean you can't convert a new lead today, but you want to use retargeting to get those people who maybe they were initially really, really eager to buy a home and then they found out they had horrible credit. Well, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, their credit's fixed. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing Chris's ads for open houses. So it encourages people to convert the same way that people do on e-commerce. So we'll talk about that. That's a really, really important thing to understand. The other thing too, I think retargeting does is what I call top of mind marketing. This is top of mind marketing traditionally from real estate, right? So I've been doing this a long time, and I remember agents doing, bench ads and grocery cart ads. Um, do they work? You could ask, 100 agents, and every agent has a different kind of mentality on it. But the goal is not to convert 100 out of 100 people. It's to stay top of mind, right? Oh, there's Chris again. Oh, there's Chris again. So you need to think about retargeting as kind of like a digital form of top of mind marketing. So think about retargeting that way. And then, as I mentioned, it's going to push people further down your funnel. So this is a really, really powerful thing. If you think about it, today you went and shopped on my website for houses for sale in San Diego, and then tomorrow you jump on Facebook and you're seeing a list of open houses. Next week you're seeing just listed home in San Diego. The next day the next week I go on Facebook. Hey, here's a video. Hey, if you're buying a home in San Diego, here's 3 things you need to know. So you think about how you can strategically do that. The other thing I want you guys to just kind of pause and think about, is there anyone on the internet right now who's doing this to you? For me, I constantly, anytime I click on like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of really good marketers, Alex Hormozy, Sharon does a really, really good job of this. There's a lot of really good companies that are constantly staying top of mind and do a really, really good job with this. But think about who those people are and think about how you view them. Now, the flip side of this, there's also annoying people, right? There's one marketer who's showed you the same ad for 12 months and you're like, man, they need to fire their marketing team. What are they doing? I've seen this ad 200 times. So there's a strategy and kind of a way around it. And so I'll get into some of those best practices here. So I just want to pause there. I always like to be a nerd for a few minutes and then just kind of check in with you guys. Are you guys tracking with me? Any questions? Are we good to go? If so, send a message in chat. Good. Beautiful. Once again, yes, this is being recorded as well. So if you need the recording, shoot over your email and I'll send it over once we're done here today. All right, so let's talk a pixel. So back to my Foot Locker analogy. Chris, I need to get a door chime on my website. So when someone comes to my website, ding, Chris is here. So that's what a pixel is. So technically, it is a snippet of code that goes on your website. So does anyone want to send over their website in chat? If so, I can tell you if you have a pixel installed already or not. But otherwise, I'm going to show you guys how to create a pixel. You only need to do this once. So, just to recap on Facebook Ads 101, we went over how to actually create. Thank you, Raymond. Um, or RaymondTeamRE.com. Thank you, Ruby. Sorry. On Facebook Ads 101, I went over how to create and basically set up your what's called your business manager so you can start doing ads. So if you haven't attended that training, once again, let me know and I'll send you the replay for Facebook Ads 101. But you should already know how to create ads. You should already know how to start building an ad. So I'm assuming you guys have already all done that. Perfect. I will. I'll send the replay over. So what I want you guys to do, so I'm going to take a look at this website real quick here. Since Ruby is a participant, I will reward that good behavior. Let me turn off. I have a VPN turned on, and Lofty doesn't like it when I do. So hold on. Sorry, the suspense. All right, so perfect. So when I go to Ruby's website, you'll notice it doesn't look like there's a Facebook tracking pixel installed on it. If there was, I've got a little tool on my computer that actually says exactly that. So I can see what consumers, what they're actually agreeing to. So he's got all these different pages on the website, or I'm sorry, Ruby. Ruby has all these pages on her website. So with that being said, this looks like kind of like up near Ventura and all of that here in California. Is that where you're at? Um,
San Luis Obispo.
Yes, low, beautiful area, beautiful area. I just went to Big Sur a couple weeks ago with my kiddos, so
Uh,
beautiful, beautiful area. So on your website, kind of back to my Foot Locker analogy, you want to first install the door chime, right? And then once you have that door chime installed, you're going to want to know who goes to every page on your website. So I love that you have a senior resources page. You've got a blog, you've got a home search, you've got sellers, you've got buyers. So thinking about Foot Locker, if this was a Foot Locker website, it would be Nike, Reebok, Under Armour, right? It would be Crocs. It would be all the name of these other brands and these companies. So real estate and what you need to do, Ruby, is you need to identify, hey, this is a seller. Hey, this is a buyer. Hey, this is someone who's interested in senior resources. So thank you for sending that over. That's a real good kind of practical example there. So let's go back to my little slideshow here.
so do you mean that do you add one pixel on every area?
Good question. So one pixel on the website, and then the kind of the next piece we're going to talk about is how you separate those kind of those different groups. So they
Okay.
call those custom audiences. We'll talk about that in just a second. Yep. Yep. Any other questions before I continue? All of you guys want the replay, so I will definitely send that over once we get finished here. All right, so you only need to install and create this pixel once. So door chime, install it on your website. So with Lofty, they make it really, really easy. Just for time's sake today, guys, I actually am not going to go through how to install the pixel. But what I am going to do, does anyone not have a Lofty website? If so, no judgment, but I'm just going to send over instructions for just that otherwise. Using Go High Level, perfect. Susan, very, very similar functionality. So basically, when you log into Go High Level, you'll see there's an integration section. Um, there's an integration section in Go High Level. So, yep. All right. So what you're going to do, you're going to basically need to create what they call is a pixel. So you're going to go into your business manager. So you're going to go to business.facebook.com. And then once you are there, you're going to see that there's an option here for what they call as events manager. So you guys should see on my screen here this little button. So you're going to click, they call it the hamburger, the three lines. You're going to click business settings, and then you'll see events manager. So once you click Events Manager, you are going to then need to click this little green button, which is, hey, I want to create a new data source, aka I want to start tracking people on my website. And then it's going to ask you, hey, what do you want to do? Hey, I want to install this on my website. So that's what you'll select here. So you're going to do web, and it's going to ask you, hey, what do you want this to be called? So if you have more than one business, I don't know if anyone here owns multiple businesses, but you could just say, Ruby's real estate website. That could be what it's called. If you have multiple websites, you could also just say, hey, this is my real estate site. Otherwise, you can put in your website domain. Mine is chriszackinteract.com. And then what you're going to do is it's going to ask you, what website do you want to put this on? So what website do you need this to go? So you're going to select your website. And when you do that, you're going to notice this little green checkbox pops up. Now, for me, it's green because I already have it installed on my website. So if you already have it installed, Facebook's going to say, hey, Ruby, you don't need to do this again. You already have it. Ruby, I checked your site. You do not. So what you'll want to see is you'll probably get like a little red stop sign button here. That means you have not installed it on your website. So install the door chime. And then, as I mentioned over in chat, I sent over step-by-step instructions of how to do it in Lofty. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to copy and paste this little code right into Lofty or right into Go High Level. So you need to do that once. Once that's done, you've got your door chime installed. Ding! People walk into your store. Now, from this point forward today, you can start tracking people. But there is one last step that we need to do. So just want to pause real quick on the kind of installing Pixel. Any questions? All right. So Pixel's installed. What I'd encourage you guys to do as soon as we get off, do this part. It takes you 20 seconds to do it. And then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to tell Facebook, um, the event is going to be what website. That's what you're looking for. So you're going to create a new data set, and then it's going to ask you what type of data set, and that's going to be web. So it should look like what my screen looks like right here. So Suzanne, if you've clicked through and you clicked Events Manager, the next thing you should see is this big green button, and you're looking for Connect a New Data Source. Yep, you're welcome. All right. So now door chimes installed on my website. Now let's identify those different pages. So on Ruby's website, we talked about the buy page, the sell page, the senior resources page. So now we need to identify and create what they call custom audiences. So I'm going to back up here a little bit and talk custom audiences just for a second here, guys. Audiences can be confusing to agents. And I want to kind of simplify this for you. So if you think of an audience, think of an audience as marketing, right? You could do postcards, right? You could do multiple postcards. So with farming, I'm going to use farming as the example here because I think that really helps agents kind of like, oh, okay, I see what he means. So if you wanted to, you could have one farming, one area that you farm. Let's say it's a zip code. So let's just say for me, I'm in San Diego. I live in zip code 92129. That's one audience. 92129, that's an audience. Now, I could also do the next city over, which is Poway, where my kids go to school. So if I wanted to, I could create a second audience and call it Poway. So you can have multiple audiences. You could have hundreds of audiences if you wanted to. Today, I'm going to give you kind of like the top 10 I would recommend you use. But when you think of audiences, I want you to think of them as um, like very kind of specific segmented groups almost. Does that make sense? Because once you create audiences, you'll have the ability to be like, hey, I want to show this ad to people who are, in Poway. I want to show this to someone who visited my website. I want to show this ad to someone who's visited this specific page on my website. So you can have multiple audiences built within this here. So let's go ahead and we're going to go to once again, you're going to click on that hamburger. So you're going to go to business.facebook.com and you can click that hamburger or you'll see the what they call audiences button. All right. So audiences, that's what we're going to click on. So all tools, audiences. And we are going to create what they call as a custom audience. So create custom audience. And we are going to first do it for your website. So we're going to talk custom audiences with website. So as soon as I click create a new audience, it's going to give me all of these options. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but back to my farming analogy. Hey, 92064, 92129, those are different audiences. View that this exact same way. So we're going to start with website. So Ruby gave me her website and we identified on her website, she's got what, 5 or 6 different pages that she has set up. And so on her website, what we could do is we could click, hey, I want to create a custom audience for anyone who's visited this specific page on my website. So do you guys see that? You guys can see, you can save people who visited a specific page on my website. So I'm going to pull up Raymond's website again, or I keep calling you Raymond. I'm sorry.
That's
Um,
okay.
So I'm going to go to her senior resources page here on our website. So let me close this down and I'm going to go to her senior resources page. Now this is for Ruby, but this is also for you guys as well. So you'll notice when I go to her senior resources page, can you guys see that this website link actually changed? And now it's raymondteamre.com/senior resources. Can you guys see that URL at all? I just want to make sure you guys are tracking along here. Perfect. So what I would do if I were her is I would then go into my custom audiences and I'm going to say people who visited a specific page. And then what I would do if I was Ruby, and I sent this over in chat, is I would send people right to that specific page. Then I would name this particular audience. I would name it Raymond Team RE website, senior resources or senior resources page on my website, whatever you can kind of label it so you'll remember. And then what you have the ability to do is you can actually track people, and I would encourage you to do this for 180 days. What does that mean in layman's terms? If I go to her senior resources page today, she can show me ads for the next 6 months if she wanted to. So what I'm going to do if I'm Ruby is I'm going to do this exact same step 7 or 8 times. So if she has 7 different pages on her website, she's going to do 7 different pages. She might have 20 pages, so it might take her a little bit of time to do it, but this is what Foot Locker does. They know if you go to their Foot Locker page and you look at Nikes. They know if you go to their page and you're looking at t-shirts that are men's small. They know exactly what you're doing. And so this is the secret sauce, guys. If you want to know why people are following you around the internet, it's because this type of stuff happens. You go to a restaurant and you want to know how the barbecue sauce is made, this is the recipe. This is why agents pay us to do this. This is incredibly powerful. If you think about it, this is you hunting with the sniper rifle. So I'd encourage you guys to do this. Set it up for every page on your website. So the first one is do this for your websites. And for those of you taking notes here, I've got a really good slide here in like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to show you that you can screenshot of all the different audiences. But just kind of keep tracking along with me here. So my Foot Locker analogy, hope that makes sense with you guys as far as like, hey, someone who comes to my buy page on my real estate site, someone goes to my senior resources page. So there's a lot of different options. So just to kind of show you another visual example here. You could do one for the buy page. You could do one for the sell page. Maybe you've got a list of 15 neighborhoods. And actually, Ruby, I saw that you do actually have a bunch of really good area pages on your website too. So I would do one for Pismo Beach and all the different areas that you've got. So yep. So that's website visitors. Any questions on the website visitor side of things? All right. Next up, you can create a couple other custom audiences. So get it on your website, right? Hey, I want to know anyone who goes to my website. You can also create a custom audience for anyone who's visited you on Facebook or Instagram. What do I mean by that? You've got a business page. Maybe you're running ads. Maybe you've got 5,000 followers on your Facebook business page. You could tell Facebook, hey, I want you to show an ad to anyone who's visited me on Facebook. Or same thing with Instagram. So you're going to go back to that create a custom audience section. But now instead of choosing website, I want you to choose Instagram or Facebook. And so when you choose Instagram or Facebook, you'll notice right here, you can create a custom audience. Anyone who's engaged with this page in the last 12 months. I love that. And then I would label that audience. So name of my company is Chris Zach Interact. I want to show this ad to anyone who's engaged with my Facebook page in the last year, which is incredible. The other thing that's really powerful about this is Facebook has this data from the last 12 months. So you can actually show ads to people who visited you last Christmas and say, hey, show this ad to anyone who's visited my Facebook page in the last 12 months or Instagram. So really, really powerful. If you're running Facebook ads, this is a really, really powerful way. Maybe you spent a lot of money and you're like, man, those ads didn't work. Use retargeting, use this custom audience. People are already familiar. These are people who have already engaged with you. So if you think about it, back to my Foot Locker analogy, this is, hey, I want to show an ad to anyone who's been to Foot Locker, right? Old school marketing, we've seen this for years. You used to go to Foot Locker, right? Before you bought everything online, you'd go to Foot Locker and they'd ask you your phone number or hey, what's your address before you buy a pair of shoes? And then a week later in the mail, what do you get? Hey, here's our, catalog. I used to get Eastbay all the time. That's where I used to buy shoes. So this is just the digital form of that. So Facebook, Instagram, website. Couple other options. This is one of my favorites right here, customer list. So probably I would say it's died down a little bit, but I still have a lot of clients that are like, Chris, I want to focus on listings, listings, listings. That's all I want to focus on. So in regards to the customer list, this is you literally taking a list and saying, Facebook, show this ad to this list of people. So I would do this for all your website leads. So I mentioned I have a client right now who's got 8,000 Facebook leads. All I did was I logged into his CRM, I downloaded all of his leads, and then I said, hey, Facebook, show this ad to all of the leads that he's already spent a ton of money on. And now he's getting all those leads coming back to his website. Yes, he's still cold calling them. Yes, he's still texting and emailing them. But now when they go on Facebook or Instagram, they're seeing his ads again. They're like, who is this guy? I think I registered on his site like last year. So you can upload a customer list. A lot of people, they do like FISBO and expired lists. I have a lot of clients that also they'll work with title or escrow or hey, give me a list of people most likely to sell or people that have X number of equity left in their home. So customer list, it'll upload it there. So really, really powerful. And this is basically telling Facebook, show this ad to the specific list of people. So really, really powerful, guys. Now, for those of you taking notes, I said there was going to be a slide you want to take a screenshot on. This is it. So take a screenshot here if you want. But this is what I'd recommend you do. So website, we talked about that. We've talked about customer list. I gave you some examples. So a farming list, all of your website leads. This is also really good for past clients. Really, really good for past clients. You can do it for sellers. You could do it for old leads. You could do it for people who have watched a video on your site or your Facebook. You could do people that have filled out a lead form on your site or on Facebook. And then you can do Facebook and Instagram as well. So a lot of different options, guys. A lot of different options with custom audiences. As I mentioned at the beginning of this call, guys, this is kind of a little bit more advanced Facebook marketing. If this is way over your head and you're like, Chris, can I just pay you to do all this? We set this stuff up all day, every day. So in a couple minutes, you can scan a QR code and we can help you. Or if you already have it and you're like, Chris, can you just make sure I set it up right? Well, we can do that for you as well. So like I said, you can set up a free 15-minute consultation call with us here. So any questions, custom audiences before we move on of like, all right, Chris, that was helpful. Now what do I do with these custom audiences? Um, how do I actually do this? How do I use these audiences? So let me take a look. We got a couple of questions came through chat. So let me just read these real quick here. Real good question. So someone's asking a question about Facebook lead forms. So currently on Facebook lead forms, people are asking for name, email address, and phone number. Usually I recommend starting there. Now I have clients, usually after about 3 weeks of clients running ads with us, they're like, man, Chris, like you're generating me a lot of leads, but like, can we talk about lead quality versus quantity? So what I might recommend doing is you could ask additional questions. And asking additional questions can be really, really powerful. So we actually ironically just posted a video on social media about this. I'm going to send this video over in chat, but it's really powerful. But yes, to answer your question, you can ask additional questions. So follow us on Instagram. I just sent a little video, but literally I talked about this exact topic. There's two questions I would recommend, and I'd only recommend asking one additional question, not both of them. So they ask for name, email address, and phone number. Maybe you ask, what's your time frame to buy a house? Maybe you're trying to generate more seller leads. So maybe you want to ask, do you have a home you need to sell before buying? The one thing I would not recommend doing though, Suzanne, is asking like 6 or 7 questions. The more questions that you ask, your cost per lead is going to get more and more expensive. I'd recommend just asking one additional question, starting there. Just from, kind of my experience here these last, I don't know, 11 or 12 years doing Facebook ads. Every time you ask a question, your cost per lead pretty much doubles. So if right now your cost per lead's $4, you ask another question, it's going to go up to 8. So as I mentioned, watch that video I sent. I literally just did that video like a week or two ago, and it's asking about like, how do you improve lead quality? Should you be asking questions on lead forms? So, yep, yep. Any other, let me just make sure I answered all questions in chat here. Yep, exactly. Add one question, make it required. Yep. That'll filter out some people as well, Suzanne. People that aren't willing to answer that question, have a nice day. You're not serious. I don't want to waste my time with you. So, you can
Awesome.
also,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. You can make it optional, but what I've learned is when you make things optional, people, they're smart. They're not going to answer it. You'll get some people who are just, I want to talk to a realtor, but majority of people, they won't. So, yeah. Any other, let me just scroll through this chat here. I'm sorry. We got a lot of good questions. Um, Perfect. All right. So let's land the plane here. So custom audiences, we've got them. How do I now tell Facebook, show this ad to the specific list of people? How do you do that next step? So this is really, really powerful. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, I want to create a new traffic ad. So you're going to go to business.facebook and you're going to go to your ads manager and you're going to create a new traffic ad. I just sent it over in chat as well for anyone who's more visual. You're going to go to business.facebook. You're going to go to your ads manager and then you're going to create a new ad. So the first ad that you're going to create, and just to remember, guys, I'm going to kind of fly through this section I'm assuming you guys have already attended Facebook Ads 101, so you know how to create an ad from start to finish. So you're going to create a Facebook ad for traffic, and then you're going to choose an audience. So you're going to choose your budget, and then now you're going to see the section for custom audiences. This is where you're telling Facebook, show this ad to this specific list of people. So you'll notice for me, I've got a bunch, a bunch of different content and a bunch of different landing pages and a bunch of different audiences because I nerd out on this stuff. Um, but it's really, really powerful to know you can combine multiple audiences. Your audience size should be about 500 people, though. That's kind of the goal I'd recommend before running an ad is about 500 people. So you've got that. And what you're going to do is just, hey, show this ad to anyone who's visited this page on my website, or show this ad to this list of my 10,000 leads. And then what you're going to do is then you're going to create the ad. 500 people minimum, correct? Yep. That's how minimum, kind of the smallest audience I would target. Anything less than that, Facebook, they might not even serve that ad. You know, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, as I mentioned, you're going to want to just kind of stay in front of them and show them a variety of different ads. So some good examples of some retargeting ads that we do. We do a lot of just listed. So anytime you get a new listing, show this ad to all your past clients, any buyers, any sellers that you have, anyone who's visited your website, anyone who's visited you on social media. And what's going to start to happen, you're going to meet someone at the grocery store or see a friend at the grocery store, and they're going to be like, man, Suzanne, I see your ads everywhere. You're constantly showing me different property. It looks like you're crushing it in real estate. All you're really doing is you're just rotating ads. They don't know, and they don't really kind of put two and two together that like Suzanne doesn't have, 600 listings. She's just using kind of different, ways of keeping in front of people. And so a good example as well, golf course properties. So know your area, know your market. I don't know if anyone wants to share where you're located at in the country. Like golf course properties. If you're in Texas, equestrian properties. You're in downtown Houston, condos. Maybe you're in, a beautiful part of the coast. Oceanfront homes, houses with a view, houses with a certain price point. So you want to know your area and what people are looking at. So keep that in mind. You want to be specific, but you don't want to be so specific. So for example, golf course properties between 500 and $600,000. That might be too specific. So keep it a little more broad, like golf course properties or oceanfront homes or whatever it is. But show people kind of an example, couple different examples. So I'm just going to kind of go through these so you guys can kind of see where my mind and my brain's at with this stuff. Um, generic areas for homes, those do really, really well too. So I'd encourage you guys to show those. So if you work 4 or 5 different areas, hey, here's a list from San Luis Obispo. Hey, here's Morro Bay. Here's Solvang. Here's whatever areas that you're serving and kind of your main areas. Show people a variety of ads. You're not going to hit 100 out of 100 people, and that's okay. Your goal is to make it seem like, wow, I'm seeing a lot of different ads from this particular agent. And as I mentioned, if you do this right, you will become that agent. They're like, man, Chris is everywhere. He does a really good job of this. Chris, obviously I want to work with a guy like Chris. That's what consumers they think because it's very effective top of mind marketing. We all know that realtor who owns every billboard in town, who owns every, bench ad, every kid little league game. They've got a sponsor banner. You can do that same thing online. So think about it that way. And then video, I'm a big fan of video. So this is an area here in San Diego called La Jolla, or if you're local, La Jolla. If you've never been to La Jolla, California, you're missing out on life. Go try the Mexican food, check out some seals. Mount Soledad, beautiful cross, overlooks the city. But sell the area, right? Sell the area, give people visual elements, and show people the variety of things. So just to kind of recap here, you've got your what they call your pixel based. So this is the Foot Locker analogy, right? This is, hey, someone walks into my store, show them an ad. And then you've got what they call list based, which is show this ad to this specific list of people. So you've got that. And then for those of you taking notes or screenshots, this is a good one. Um, good kind of retargeting ads, just listed, just sold, open houses, ocean view homes, ads by price point, area features. And then once again, I'm just going to visually show you guys these. Any questions as I go through some of these at all, guys? Question, graphics. Yeah, for all of our clients, we're doing all graphic design, video editing. So you just tell us the area and we'll pull photos from the MLS or your listings or your past listings, or we've got a bunch of paid photos we can also use that help sell the area. But you know, carousel ads, definitely. Yep, same exact thing. Yep, I'm just showing you kind of single images ads, but yeah, carousel, that would be the great one for retargeting as well. Yep. All right, guys, we're gonna kind of land the plane here. So, couple best practices. So, as I mentioned, you don't want to be that realtor that's annoying. So, Facebook has something that they call frequency score. That's a fancy way of saying how often are people seeing your ads. So, I used the analogy earlier about e-commerce. People need to see the same ad 8 times before they buy it in e-commerce. If Foot Locker shows you that black pair of Nikes 8 times, they know you're more likely to buy that pair of shoes. So in real estate, I try and shoot between about 4 and 7. So you want to keep that frequency score between 4 and 7. You also got to remember consumers. So I'm on my phone here, right? Consumers, they're scrolling through Facebook. A lot of times they fly by your ad and they don't even realize it. So maybe I just saw one ad. Oh, I just saw 2 ads. They're not stopping and necessarily looking at it. So keep that in mind. I'd love for you to think that like people are literally stopping and looking at your ad every time. But the reality is people are scrolling. They're really, really trigger happy. They're going quick. But 4 to 8 times, that's kind of the sweet spot for frequency score that I'd pay attention to. Here's one of my favorite numbers, cost per click. I was talking to an agent the other day, a new client we have in Orange County. They're spending $1,200 on Zillow for one lead. So I always ask people that do Zillow, I'm like, all right, you spent $1,200 on that lead. Would you pay 30 cents to get that Zillow lead back to your website? They're like, of course. I'm like, you need to be doing retargeting. So if you've got a list of old leads, leads that you spent thousands of dollars on, spend 30 cents to get that person back to your site. You'll see some of these numbers for some of our clients. One of our clients we run an ad for, a retargeting ad, we spent $133 and got 456 people back to the site for 29 cents a pop. So basically, that agent bought that lead back for 29 cents, right? And I'm doing the bunny ears quote because that lead already existed in their database. They just haven't talked to them in, 5 years or a year or however long ago they registered. So cost per click, I like to shoot for between about 30 and I would say 60 cents when you're doing retargeting. But it's really, really cheap, super affordable. So most agents, they don't need $1,000 budget for retargeting. All right. Couple other questions coming through. Let me just read these real quick here. What specific information do you need to retarget? Is an address enough? No, it's not. Really good question. So I would say name, email address, and phone number. If you have those 3 data points, that's really, really good. The more information you have, the better. And so basically, how it works is when you upload this list, Facebook will say, "Oh, it looks like this is a first name. Oh, this is a last name." The more data points you get it, the more accurate and kind of more people that are going to align with that list. They don't do actually address anymore. They do city, state, and zip code, but they no longer accept address. Yep, good question. Let me just go through real quick. Sorry, guys. If I missed your question, you might need to resend it in chat, but otherwise, I think I've answered all questions. Let me just scroll through these one more time because I want to make sure, guys. Mm. All right, I think I got everything answered here. Um, Other question, do you have a format CSV template handy? No, even better than that, Suzanne. You do not need to um, Ruby, I'll email you my contact info and you can schedule right into my calendar. Or if you want real quick here, Ruby, go ahead and scan this QR code at the top. We're almost done, but scan this QR code and you can reach out to me and get scheduled right into my calendar. Um, but yeah, thank you for attending, Ruby. The Suzanne, your question about formatting the CSV template, you actually don't need to format it. Just take that big file. I don't care if it's 1,000 different columns or rows, upload it to Facebook, and then Facebook automatically, they usually pick up on what the name is. So if column one is first name, it'll automatically say, oh, this is first name. So you don't even need to format it. Let Facebook do that for you. So kind of bring that raw file to the table. Yeah. Yep. So, any other questions? We already answered that one. Perfect. All right. So let me just go back and I'm going to wrap up here for you guys. So I mentioned some best practices. Some best practices are, as I mentioned, be specific. You don't want to be too specific. And then you want to experiment with segmentation. That's a really big word for me to use. But what I mean by that is do an ad for open houses this week. And then next week, do golf course properties. Then the following week, do list of properties for sale in this city. So kind of rotate. And I would recommend if you're doing retargeting, rotate them about every 10 to 14 days. That's what I kind of recommend. And then I say regularly update your audiences. Realistically, you don't need to update them super often, but like if you're generating 200 leads a month, I'd probably recommend downloading all your leads from your CRM, probably like I would say once every 3 months or so. But aside from updating your audiences, you only have to do it for lists. Everything else is automatically updated. So, and as I mentioned, leverage analytics, cost per click, frequency score. Don't be the annoying realtor. You do not want to be that realtor that people are like, God, this person's annoying. They show the same damn ad every day. Uh, Here's the best part. How much to spend? Um, Start really, really low. So most agents that are spending money on marketing, I tell them, and this is just kind of a blanket statement, 80% of your budget should be spent on new leads, 20% spent on retargeting. Now, if you set up a call with me, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions before I give you that recommendation. So, for example, if you come to me and you're like, Chris, I've got a database of 7,000 leads, I'm going to flip that script for you. And I'm going to say, hey, no, you know what? You need to spend more on retargeting. But for most agents, they only need between about a $50 and $150 a month marketing budget for all retargeting ads. It's really that cheap and affordable. So you do not need to do and go crazy spending a ton of money on it. So hopefully that helps. And then what to expect? You should expect if you are paying attention. So if you've got Lofty, you're going to notice returning visitor, returning visitor, returning visitor, returning visitor. You're going to get a lot of those notifications of people coming back to your website, which is great. That's the goal of retargeting, right? It's to get people coming back to the site. So really powerful. Um, I'm gonna skip through that part, but yeah, so that's Facebook ads 201, guys. Just to clarify, Ruby, Suzanne, Jack, it looks like you hopped off. You guys asked me to send the recording, so I will. If anyone else does want the recording of this or Facebook ads 101, please just give me your email address in chat. I promise I won't spam you, but I will send over I'll upload this to YouTube and then in about 45 minutes, you'll have it in your email. But aside from that, guys, if we can help you, Chris, this is great. Can I pay you to do it? Scan this QR code at the top. This is also a way for you to schedule just a free consultation with us if you want us to take a look at what you're currently doing and kind of audit your process. We post on social media a lot, so I'm always sharing just kind of different things I'm testing with our clients and we're seeing working. And then the last thing, receive tips to your mailbox. We do a newsletter twice a month. This morning, we literally just sent one out and it was talking about agents you need to be doing video in your business. So if you do sign up for our newsletter, just make sure you check your email. You do need to click and confirm your email address before we do anything. But otherwise, guys, thank you for attending. I hope you found this was helpful. As I mentioned, I've been teaching, this class for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now in Real Academy. I started teaching in Real when there was think there was 1,100 agents. So it's been really fun to watch the growth at Real. And if I can do anything to help you guys, please let me know. I'll hang out for a couple minutes and answer any questions. But otherwise, no questions. Feel free to enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And thanks again for attending, guys. Have a great day.
I had a very
And
quick question.
yeah, I have a quick answer.
Do you also teach Google Ads, that platform as well?
I don't. I don't.
Okay.
It's Google's a different beast.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just handle the managing side of it. But one thing that we do is if you already have like a Google Ads account and you're already running Google Ads, you could hire us to kind of do like a little bit of an audit and clean up your account. But
Hmm.
otherwise, no, we don't teach that. I've talked with Real about teaching a Facebook or I'm sorry, a YouTube ads
Hmm.
course. So that's something that's in the works,
Yeah.
but that's a little bit different than the Google Ads side. Technically, it is Google Ads, but YouTube ads are a lot easier than full on Google Ads to teach.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so,
Well, great.
so yeah, but yeah, Suzanne, I appreciate all the questions today and the participation, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thanks again for attending.